Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Ridiculous Report. What we got for you today is the 14th Amendment's promise, or is it? Picture this. Right after the Civil War in 1868, rolls around, America's like, okay, we abolished slavery. And while we're here, let's guarantee citizenship to folks born here. Enter the Citizenship Clause. Quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. Right? That sank in the U.S. DNA and led to the landmark case United States versus Wong Kim Ark in 1898, where the Supreme Court affirmed that if you're born in U.S. soil, even to immigrant parents, you're a citizen. It was a 6-2 decision, folks. That was not a cheeky footnote. They said birthright citizenship was as clear as scotch on a cold night. But hold up. All right, yes, the gory clause. Critics, and yes, some politicians argue that subject to the jurisdiction excludes children from undocumented immigrants and tourists. They claim the phrase limits birthright to only certain folks. However, the counter-argument and the dominant legal view is loud and clear. If you live here, pay taxes, obey our laws, you're in. Full stop. Right? Harvard's Gerald Newman and many others insist, sorry, you can't unilaterally scribble that clause out. All right? Now enters the 2025 drama. Executive Order 14-15-6. All right? Now, Trump's back, second term, early 2025. And boom, he signs the Executive Order 14-156, trying to revoke automatic citizenship for kids born to undocumented or temporary status parents, basically students, tourists, etc., etc. All right? Now, unsurprisingly, this kicks off lawsuits. I know, no way I could do that. 22 state attorneys general attorneys jumped in. Think of 22 states roaring, not today, pal. All right? Now, the injunctions and, skeletons, patchwork chaos, all this literal chaos going on. Now, the lower courts weren't having it. They slapped nationwide injunctions on this executive action, blocking it coast to coast. Then the Supreme Court said, oops, too broad. We're only blocking it for the named plaintiffs, thus allowing the executive order to apply to states that haven't sued. So the executive order is in effect in all those states that are not suing to get rid of it. All right? What's the result? A chaotic quilt of citizenship rights. In some states, you have kids automatically getting citizenship. In others, they don't. Imagine being born in Pennsylvania versus New Jersey and not knowing your citizenship status until you turn 6. Wild, chaotic, and frankly, terrible. Now, here's the big constitutional conundrum. Legal scholars did weigh in. Harvard's Newman states the president has zero authority to change citizenship laws, none, zip, whatever. Georgetown's Martin Letterman, this whole executive order misunderstands the 14th Amendment precedent, rewrites it with a crayon. Heritage Foundation and conservatives critics, the executive order reflects what the original framers intended only for diplomats, foreign officials, not immigrants. Yet, legal heavyweights agree. To truly remove birthright citizenship, you need, wait for it, a constitutional amendment. Now, not a tweet, not an executive order, but 2/3 of Congress and 3/4 of the United States. Of the states, I should say. Imagine that. Laws harder to pass than tweet terms of office. Or Twitter's terms of service. My bad. All right, now, pull back the camera. All right, Dred Scott in 1857. Black Americans born here weren't citizens. Utterly humiliating and wrong, but they weren't. The 14th Amendment righted that wrong for formerly enslaving people. Okay? Now, in 1898, Wong Kim Ark said, just sole, which means it's real and powerful. Citizenship by soil, not blood or race. All right? This isn't some new battlefield. It's been in America's moral and legal background for over 150 years. Now, it's not all academics. All right? Real families are at risk. From The Guardian, immigrant women, pregnant and terrified, fearing their babies might end up stateless. Full stop. They could be born in the U.S. and end up with no citizenship anywhere. Okay? That's a real possibility. Behind the legal footnotes are real human stories. Families doing the best they can, only to feel their future ripped from underneath them because of some half-baked executive scribbling. Be feelings, right? Now, what could happen next? All right? The legal wrangling is far from over. Lower courts in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, D.C. continue to block the executive order. The Supreme Court hasn't decided whether the executive order is constitutional. They only ruled on procedural stuff. That's it. Now, Congress could attempt to pass new legislation, though good luck changing the Constitution via statutory law. Not going to happen. Or amend the Constitution. Good luck again. That ain't going to happen. There's no way. All right? So why does this matter? The constitutional uniformity. Birthright citizenship ensures that every child born in U.S. territory gets the same rights no matter where. This patchwork mess is legal chaos. All right? The moral foundation of this is just so it represents a bold, inclusive promise, we don't do birth lottery. Okay? Future implications. All right. Erosions of this right. Could it open the door to broader rollbacks? Education rights, which of course the example is Plyler versus Doe. Voting rights, equal protection, a domino effect. All right. Now here's the deal. All right. America baked birthright citizenship into its constitution oatmeal. Tried to rip it out lately. It's been as sensible as arguing golf isn't a sport because you carry a cart. You don't get to unravel 150 years of legal precedent and moral intent with executive pen stroke and expect everyone not to call it out. All right? That's pretty dodgy. But that might be his whole point of doing it. All right? Is to start it. To start the original, talking and everything else. Now, it's not just legal jargon. It's about identity, belonging, and everything else like that. It's about telling a kid, welcome home, you're one of us. Now, next time someone claims it's unfair, remind them fairness didn't end slavery. Fairness didn't demand equal protection. It didn't guarantee that if you're born here, you're in. Not some kids, not some places, all in. Now, the only problem with the argument is that from what I've been reading and everything that's been going on, I've been able to see where the executive order does hold merit. The actual sentence, the actual part of the Constitution that gives rights is only being read one part of it. All right? Now, the only part that really anybody cares about is the all persons born or naturalized in the United States. Then they cut on out the next part and it just says, are citizens of the United States. but they cut out one very important part of that sentence. And that is, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. All right? It has a lot of wiggle room because of what it actually means. Now, am I subject to be able to tell what that is? No. No. That is for the future, for the courts to decide. And you know this is only going to go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is going to have to rule. Pure and simple. All right? So then what are we going to do in the meantime? There's going to be a lot of yelling and a lot of this, a lot of that, blah, 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 blah. But you're going to look forward to a lot of arguing, a lot of drama, and a lot of he said, she said, and what I think and what you think, and you're wrong, and no, you're wrong. All right? It's going to be a lot of drama. So hold your horses. Don't worry about it so much and stuff because it doesn't mean much right now. Is this opening up the doorway for possibly getting rid of just automatic birthright? Yeah, it is. Is it long overdue? I don't know. No one's going to listen to me anyways, so my opinion doesn't really matter. This is going to be going on over, and politicians are going to be going on about this. The Supreme Court is going to have to make a ruling on it. And until they do, we got nothing. All right? Just saying that he did start this out. The SCOTUS did start this out with his executive order. Is his executive order out of whack? Not necessarily. He is, his whole reasoning and logic behind it is solid. But it's going to go on. It's going up against 150 years of precedent. All right. And he wants to try and change that. That's not going to be easy to do. So I say that we're just going to have to wait and see. But that's what's going on. That's the latest news. Go ahead and tell me what you think and about everything that's going on down below in the comments. I'd love to be able to hear what you think. All right, everybody. You have a great one. Thank you for listening to the Ridiculous Report. Stay ridiculous. Have a great one. Bye-bye.